Hello and welcome to our presentation on how to at least double your business using the internet. Over the last couple of years, I've launched 3 publications. The first was in fact about 18 months before this was recorded, and that's a magazine on the Apple iTunes and the Google newsstand. And it actually is now selling in 70 or more countries, and it's in the top 10 in business and finance in both the UK and in the USA. So I've done some of this. And I want to try and explain to you that it's not as difficult as it looks. You can, in fact, quite easily, significantly increase the size of your internet business or of the part of your business that's conducted on the internet. Now that could be direct selling of products or services, or it could be lead generation. Either way, you can double it. So let's take a look at how we might begin to do that. You will actually be amazed at just how easy it could be for you to double the size of your business. And that's because small, tiny little changes actually multiply together to make a difference. So you don't just add them, you multiply these changes together. And I'm going to illustrate that through some figures. But of course, selling on the internet is just like selling anywhere else. It's the same things we're trying to achieve. We want to try and bring in more clients. We want to try and achieve a better price, and we also want to achieve a higher volume with each of our clients. If we can move any of those, the results are actually quite magic. So you can see on this chart here, I've got some figures, and along the top line, we've got a starting point of 10,000 clicks. So that's 10,000 clicks on your website, onto an offer that you put out there, onto an email list, whatever it might be. And you might quite easily get a conversion rate of 20% on that. So 20% of the people who are clicking onto an advert or onto your website actually going on to do something. That can be achieved. It's perfectly reasonable. So that would give you something like 2,000 leads. Of those, perhaps 12.5% might go on to become customers. So you end up with 250 customers. And if each of those customers undertook 2 transactions with you at an average selling price of £100, that would be £50,000 worth of business. So let's take the next column, the central column, and say no more clicks, exactly the same. But if we convert 10% more, so 22%, that gives us now 2,200 leads. And if we can add 10% to the conversion rate, that's 13.75%, that gives us 302.5 customers. And if they now undertake 2.2 transactions each, we get an average sale value of £110. That multiplies through to £73,205. Even more, realistically, we could get that up to 15,000 clicks, and the conversion rate to 30%. That would give 4,500 leads, and the conversion rate could get as high as 15%, giving 675 customers. If we can get the transactions up to 2.4, then an average selling price of up to 120, we're looking at £194,400. So moving from 50,000 to 194,000. That's more than, obviously, doubling the business. So let's see how we might do it. Now I'm sure everyone is familiar with Pareto's law, the concept that 20% of the effort gives 80% of the results, the 80-20 rule as we commonly call it. Well, that applies to internet marketing too. Now some of you actually may know me personally, and if you do, you know I'm a little bit obsessive. And therefore not everything that I'm going to tell you today is actually my own original work. Some of it is. In fact, I would even say the best parts of it are. However, I have been through the work of some of the best internet marketers on the planet. In fact, I've been extensively through the work of 20 of them. Some of them, their names you may recognize: Chris Cardell, Ed Dale, Jeff Walker, Simon Colson, Ryan Diaz. I could go on and on and on. There are lots of them. So I've distilled the ideas and the thinking and the success from 20 of the world's best and have brought it to you in this program. But before we get going, there are a few basics that you need to get right, and let's go through them. There are only a few. Firstly, rule number 1. So rule number 1, each client attracting page of your website should have one and only one job to do. And if you fail to get that right, Google will ignore you. You will not rank anywhere in the search engines. Here is an example of one of my home pages. Now it's fairly obvious. The job of this page is to ask you to subscribe. There's a video to help you along, there's a few bits of snippets because this is actually a home page. But even so, there's nothing going on about the company, the history, or all the other detritus that normally you see on web pages. I have actually put on this a menu bar so that people can navigate around. I mean, you know, it is actually a home page. But also there's a second reason for doing that. If you don't have a menu on a page, a navigation bar, then Google will not rank it as highly. So there are some reasons for doing it. And the page can't always be simply a single task. So let's look at rule number 2. And hey, I'm going back to the same web page. The second rule is always to have the opt-in or the action point, what we call above the fold. What I mean by that is that the user of the web page should not have to scroll down to find the area to take action. And here it's absolutely dead center in front of their face. And so to rule number 3. Rule number 3 is that your website must have a mobile-friendly aspect to it. It's got to be able to be viewed on phones of different sizes and on tablets and on laptops and on desktops. I would even go so far as to say it's also got to be visible and look good on a widescreen television. The proportion of prospects using your mobile to browse is growing every day. And so to rule number 4. Number 4 is about optimization, search engine optimization. And rule number 5. If you have to put more than one thing on a page, then use junction boxes. These are the boxes you see here. There can be lots of different designs, of course, but they pull your focus in to these particular points. And it's quite straightforward. It's almost just like reading a menu. So the 1 page per product rule should apply. If you can't apply that for some reason, it's just crazy, if you need all of your products or a selection of your products on the same page, then use what we call junction boxes to group them together. So having covered those basic rules, now let's look at this question of the 80-20. Now, to be honest, I could have filled this slide twice over with different areas of traffic generation. They're the boxes you see to the left of the screen. We've got search engine optimization, AdWords, blogging, webcasting, banner ads, all sorts in there. They're actually a sample rather than an exhaustive list. Similarly, for conversion, I've shown sort of a lot of boxes there with tactics and strategies and tools for converting traffic that comes to a website into actually being leads. And there's another area that often gets ignored. So we've had the traffic come in as our traffic generated. We've then converted it to leads and to sales. And we also got another area which is remarketing. And that applies whether someone has purchased or not. So if they've purchased, it's a question of selling them something else. If they haven't purchased, then it's a case of having another go. And that's called remarketing. And it can absolutely increase your traffic. There's probably an extra 25% of additional leads or additional sales in remarketing alone. So the next trick is to sort the wheat from the chaff here, to actually find the areas of traffic generation that work for you, the conversion techniques that are best, and the remarketing ways that work. So this could be an example. What I've actually done here, as well as getting rid of quite a lot of the different boxes, I've also given the boxes a scoring. So A is the best, B is the second best, and C is still worth doing. Using this, we can make sure that our time and our investment, our money, is actually spent on doing the best things that work most effectively for us. So from here, I would like to ask you to join me if you would like to at least double your online sales or lead generation. Together, we'll work out What's the best strategy? What are the best techniques and tools for your business? It does not matter what software technology involved. I have it, it's available to you to use, with my compliments. It doesn't matter what skills or knowledge are needed. It's available, we have it. We're ready to go. Your business is actually on the launch pad, ready to set off. What matters is that you take action and that you do so now. So what do you need to do? You need to be able to work out what works best for your business. Remember the 80-20 rule. You need to access and understand the available strategies. You need to be able to use the necessary tools. You need to keep time and costs under control. And track what works best and what doesn't work for you. And then be able to take action to capitalize on what works and to stop doing what doesn't. But how can we do all of that without, first of all, engaging nerdy, expensive, incomprehensible consultants? We just don't need them. How can we do it without wasting a vast amount of time finding out what's needed? How can we do it without spending a fortune on all the different software that you may need to make this work for your business? How can we do it without committing to endless hours of social media sites, inputting trivia, posts and tweets? How can we do it without risking diverting your time, your energy and your money towards things that don't work? Well, instead of all that, you can work with like-minded business owners and managers to use the tools and software to see if it works for you, to try it. You can follow logical, proven tracks towards doing that 20%. You can keep everything up to date in a rapidly changing world. What I'm saying works now may not work in a month or two, and you need to know what's coming along the track, what's fading, and what's best. In short, we need to eliminate so many of the many risks that are in internet marketing. So a seat at the table of success is there, it's waiting for you. All you have to do is step forward and grasp the opportunity and do it now. But hey, how much? I can hear the cogs going around in your mind now. What is this going to cost? Well, you'll be amazed. You'll be able to get started for very little. You can get on the road to growing your business for just £9.95. I know, it's amazing. What I'm saying here is that for £9.95, you can get involved with me on one aspect of putting your business right in terms of getting your share of the internet business. But not only that, the area that is the biggest success, the area that's bringing forth the most business, Facebook, that's the area that you can work with me on. After that, you can think further and work with more tools and techniques. Hit the click here button, get in touch with me, and let's get started. I really look forward to working with you.